It's the Andrew Christopher Show. With Andrew Christopher, your host.
And there's no video, so you don't have to worry about looking awkward.
Awesome. Sounds good.
But really we call it the AC Show. Yeah, we really call it the AC Show.
With my sister, the drug addict.
Really call it the AC Show.
The clean drug addict.
Clean entry. Yes. Recovering. Recovered. Recovering.
Recovering. In recovery.
And you said it's okay to call you that, right?
Oh, yeah.
You thought it was kind
Totally
of funny.
fine.
I think
I
I
don't
brought
care.
it up in one of my first episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
I know it's a big part of our lives, right?
That's right. For sure.
So welcome, my sister Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm stoked that we're getting to do this finally. 'Cause we've
Yeah.
been talking about it for a while.
I'm excited too. A little bit nervous, but I'm
Yeah.
excited.
How was your trip that you guys went on? You just went on
Oh
a
my gosh, it was amazing.
big road trip?
Yeah. We went on a road trip. So we rented a SUV. My husband and daughter, Brooklyn.
What was the SUV?
I can't remember.
No? Oh,
I don't
guess,
know.
Yeah.
It was just nice.
Bear would know, but
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were taking the minivan.
It was an Outlander,
Oh, yeah,
Mitsubishi
cool.
Outlander.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went to Revelstoke to the Enchanted Forest, and then Drumheller to the Dinosaur Museum,
Yeah.
West Edmonton Mall.
I don't think I ever did the Enchanted Forest. Did we as kids?
I thought we did, but
I remember
don't know.
driving by it like a ton of
Yeah.
times because we took a lot of road trips
Yeah,
when we were younger. But yeah, I don't think I did. And so it's like
it's cute.
fairies and
Yeah,
little
like fairy
houses
tale, little fairy tale guys
Yeah.
all around the paths and
like
stuff.
like the Three Bears kind of thing, or
Yeah.
is it like
the Three Little Pigs, and then like the old lady Hubbard.
Three Little Pigs or Three Bears?
No, the Three Pigs.
Who am I thinking of? Bernstein?
Goldilocks and the
Goldilocks and the
and
yeah.
the Three Bears.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
there's three pigs too.
I guess so.
What's the three pigs one? With a huff and puff and a blow your house down?
Yeah.
I think it was more than three on that.
Mm.
Pigs. No. Three Little Pigs. Yeah, I guess
Maybe
that does
not.
sound right. Maybe it's all in threes. And like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
They all are very similar.
And there was
right?
little houses you could like climb into, and some of them even me and Bear could fit inside.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
some of them were just for kids, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
That is cool. And then the Dinosaur Museum. I know I've done that before.
Yeah.
Was it still pretty cool?
It was really cool. There was Fossil
an
World,
adult.
which was cool, and then the regular dinosaur museum. Both of them were super cool.
Yeah.
Brooklyn loved it. There's dinosaurs all over the town.
Yeah.
Like little statues that you're
Yeah,
supposed
that's
to
right.
find.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
And then West Edmonton Mall.
Oh, that was amazing.
Did you stay at a hotel like in the mall?
Yeah, we stayed at the Fantasyland Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never even been there. I've only seen pictures, but it was really cool. The first night we stayed in the, the luxury igloo room. And so there was like a big, like king size bed that was in the shape of like a igloo.
Really?
And we had a hot tub.
I didn't see the. Did
Yeah.
you post all these pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
of
didn't see. I'll have
course.
to go. Yeah, I know. Of course.
I did.
That's cool. though. Yeah.
Of hot tub inside our room. And then Brooklyn had like her choice of 2 bunk beds with a curtain, which she loved. And the second night we stayed in a Roman Empire room.
Nice.
So it was cool. There was like
Is
statues.
it normal
and
to switch rooms, or did you guys
Probably
do that?
not.
No.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, if we're going to spend the money, we're going to get like,
two different
two really
rooms.
cool rooms.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's going to cost anymore, right?
yeah.
Or
exactly.
did it? I
No,
don't know. No, they
No.
didn't charge you to move. Yeah,
no,
makes sense.
I know.
Yeah.
It was great. And the actual driving and stuff was totally good. Me and Bear didn't even fight, which is amazing because usually long road trips like that,
with
there's some
anybody.
kind of like argument or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, a little
Jamie and
sad
me, it's
story
like
though.
Just from here to Chilliwack.
Oh yeah. little
Sorry.
sad note. I hit a duck on the highway.
A duck.
Yeah.
You don't usually see that
No. And
in
there
flight,
was-
or was he
no, it
grounded?
was walking across. So I was driving down the road and I went to pass a car. So I was going through the Rockies. I went to pass a car, and then there was a truck going to pass the same car. So the truck was behind me. The car was beside me. I went past it, and then a duck appeared out of nowhere to cross the road with its 5 babies.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And Brooklyn doesn't know.
Yeah,
She might now.
she might know. Yeah, what are you guys doing? The kids are showing up here. Well,
Oh,
okay, but you got to be quiet, okay? Mommy
Yeah.
was supposed to tell you that. So Michelle has a daughter, stepdaughter Brooklyn,
Yes, Brooklyn. She's 8 years old.
8 years old. She's here now. And yeah, just take those and go upstairs and go talk to your mom. Mommy didn't do her job up there of babysitting very well. We're 5 minutes into this and kids are already bugging us. But that's fine.
That's okay.
So yeah, just the big duck or the
Well,
whole...
it was probably the mom duck
Yeah.
because this duck popped up and then 5 babies behind it, and I kind of swerved,
Yeah.
but there was a truck beside me,
Yeah.
and I couldn't stop because there was a car
that's
behind me,
Crazy.
and I
that
just heard
sucks.
this bump, and then I was like crying, and then Brooklyn's like, "What's wrong? What happened?" And I said,
Poor
"I
duck.
think we might have got a flat tire." So we pulled over,
No, we're fine.
and it was okay. So yeah,
Damn.
I felt bad.
But
But we did get to see a bear on the side of the road, and we got to see a moose.
Really? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Moose are pretty cool
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it a big bear or was the moose
No,
bigger?
it was a little baby
Okay,
bear.
yeah. But the moose was probably huge.
Yeah.
Hey.
The moose was big, but it was far away.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome trip.
It was
Those
it
are
was
nice
really
to be able
good.
to do. You're gone for 2 weeks or what?
Just a week and a day actually.
Oh yeah, so you
Yeah.
did it pretty quick.
Yeah.
So lots of time in the car, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
That's
fun.
awesome. So I just want to get into this your story because it's something that I know you're comfortable sharing, and I think it's very important for a lot of people to hear it.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And hopefully we get a lot of people to hear it. We'll see. And I think it's inspiring. It's something that because of how things have turned out now, I can look up to you as a big sister. Whereas I've said this before, but it used to be hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
But now I do really look up to you and admire you for how strong you were in getting through this. So yeah, I'll kind of let you take it away and let the people know what we're talking about and what you've been through and how you came out the other side.
Okay.
Do
Sounds
your thing.
good.
And
Awesome.
I'll interrupt if I have anything to add in or if I remember
Okay.
something differently.
Yes. Yeah, because that might happen. Okay. So basically, I'll just start from the beginning. Childhood was pretty normal. Like growing up, I had my 2 parents and my brother and my sisters, and I didn't really have anything. A lot of people have traumatic experiences in their childhood that that maybe can start off their addiction, start them into it earlier. For me, my first memory of drinking alcohol would have been a couple different things. I know when I went to England, my great grandma, I remember walking down to her house from my grandma's house, and I started going there by myself when I was about 12, which was awesome because we have lots of cool relatives there and hanging out with cousins our age. And I remember going to my great grandma's house, and then she asked if I wanted a glass of sherry, and I wasn't sure what sherry was,
Yeah.
but usually it just
at 12 years old, you probably
usually it just comes in those little like brandy glasses. But she filled up like a full water glass full of sherry for me.
Oh yeah.
And so I drank it, and I remember kind of like vaguely like walking back to grandma's house and thinking that it was really cool. Like I always thought that people that were drinking, like I looked up to them. I thought it was a cool thing. And and then I remember also when I was probably around like 15 or so, maybe 16, going with our dad to the flying club. And there was a beer vending machine there. And I thought that was the most awesome thing. And he always had U-Brew beer that I was able to drink as long as I remembered to bring the bottles back. That was the big rule.
Yeah.
So drinking wasn't really like it wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
Like it was just accepted.
It didn't seem as taboo as maybe
drugs or something.
Even some other families
Yeah.
around here might have made it seem, right?
Exactly.
For- Yeah, for us it was just a bit more
Yeah.
regular.
It was
I
just
guess.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So And I know that mom and dad had like a couple liquor cabinets that I would dip into a few times. I remember somebody was saying like about addiction, how it's like you like pre-plan everything and you make sure. I remember like vividly that there was a bottle of Bailey's in the liquor cabinet and they had got it for Christmas or something. And it was in there for like 6 months and nobody even opened it. And I was like, they probably won't even know if it's gone. So I just like, I literally like watched to see what they would drink and what they wouldn't drink so that I would know what I could take and they wouldn't notice.
Right.
Which is crazy thinking. Like, looking back now, that's totally like addict behavior, right? Kind of like premeditating and planning when you can get what you want to get. Yeah.
Do you remember, because I feel like I vaguely remember our dad going through a time where he was drinking non-alcoholic beer.
No.
You don't? I
Do you?
For some reason, I had a memory of this. We'll have to ask Mom, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was wondering if you knew anything about that or what was up with that. But
No.
because I mean, yeah, obviously, like I think Dad drinks a lot.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I don't think he's ever kind of said, that he was addicted or anything.
No.
Has he?
He's never told me that.
Yeah.
I just know that he drinks often.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And even back when we were kids, I don't remember much of it, right? Because Dad moved away when I was 11 or 12. Yeah. So I don't have a lot of really strong memories of.
I just have memories of that we were more like friends because we would go out drinking together.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my memories of him, which looking back isn't really a healthy father-daughter relationship.
No. Anyway,
yeah.
But
yeah, so
you would be premeditating these things,
yeah,
figuring out what you could drink, how you could get away with it. Yeah. Around 15 or 16, you're saying?
Yeah, probably around then.
Which I don't think is that.
It's kind of average.
Abnormal.
No.
Especially these days, kids are definitely starting to drink and do a lot of things younger.
Yeah, even earlier.
But
so in high school, I know like I would kind of. It was mostly on the weekends. Like I never really drank during the week for high school. I smoked pot, but everybody did. We were in Agassiz, so there wasn't much else to do.
Except play basketball or sports.
That's right. So I wasn't into sports, and I wasn't really, you would say, like a super academic go-getter. Yeah. So my brother was into sports. Carolyn was super academic. Lisa was kind of, I think, a little bit like me. So I just would rather hang out with my friends. And so I didn't really have a group in high school that I would hang out with, like a clique. So I started smoking maybe around like 15 or 16, smoking cigarettes. And hanging out with guys and partying at the river, drinking beers, smoking pot. But it wasn't really a huge problem that I thought during high school. When I got out of high school, I was in the bar stage, which most people are when you're like 19 or whatever. Yeah. But I continued to go to the bar long after my friends stopped going. Like I remember being at the bars and seeing you there, and your friends, and I'd be like, man, I used to babysit that kid, and I would kind of feel old, but I wouldn't care because I was just drunk anyways. I know that in my mid-20s is kind of when I started experimenting with harder drugs, mostly cocaine. There was a couple years there that I was into ecstasy and doing that quite a bit. And cocaine was like my favorite one because I got super skinny. Right. It was really good at, it's just really addicting. When I started, I started with a little bit, just with some friends, and then it quickly ended up being that I was using it every day, in my everyday life, just to wake up in the morning or just to do the dishes. I was still drinking a lot at that time as well, but I think that, because I like to be out and party all the time, then I would drink, but I didn't want to pass out because I didn't want to like go to bed. So I would do more cocaine. It would just go longer and longer. So I did get myself into some pretty bad situations, like hanging out with the wrong people, Surprisingly, I am still here today. Like there was some pretty scary places I was, and looking back now, I think like something or someone must be looking out for me. So, but yeah, the coke and the drinking was the main thing. I remember, I think I was drunk one night and I told Lisa or Carolyn or something that I was doing coke, and they said like, you got to tell mom. And I didn't want to tell mom. And then I kind of broke down and told her. And, so I went to her house for, I think, a few days to maybe a couple weeks. I went and stayed with her to clean up. That was like mid-20s, but it was still okay for me to be drinking because she didn't think that drinking was a problem, right? And neither did I, because it's so accepted everywhere. That's kind of the hard part about realizing what's good and what's bad, right? Like if you tell somebody, oh, I just did some heroin over the weekend, they'd probably be like, what? Yeah. But if you're like, I just had a couple beers over the weekend, they're like, oh, cool. Like it's it's a regular thing. So, so I did stop for a while with the coke, but then my drinking just progressed. It's one or the other, or it's both. For me, the scary thing was when I was quitting, or I wanted to not do coke as much because it was really expensive. I got into huge debt, which I know a lot of people in addiction either go into debt or go into crime or something like that. But I had about three different credit card loans that I had to pay off like over the years, of like getting cash out on my credit card, or
how is it so easy to do that? I
don't know.
It's crazy how easy it is to get into 50 grand of debt.
Yeah.
Like no problem.
Yeah.
You know?
It's expensive, and it's
and it's just easy to find. It's easy to find that money on credit cards or loans or whatever.
Loans, mostly like for me, because there was limits on the credit cards. Maybe I shouldn't tell this because then it'll like, maybe then other people will do it and have lots of money. But I would like go to the gas station when my credit card was maxed out at the amount of cash that I could take out. I would go to the gas station and buy a bunch of scratch and wins on my credit card and then cash those in for cash.
Right.
Because I couldn't take out any more cash on my credit card because there's a
so you just
different limit.
Hope to win.
Yeah. Usually I'd get enough just to get something.
Yeah.
But you pay hundreds of dollars for scratch and wins and maybe win like $20.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
It was
so you're just trading in $200 to get $20
to get
cash.
$20. Yeah.
Wow.
So over the years, I mean, I definitely could have like had a really good down payment for a house.
Yeah.
But it's in the past, right? So, but the main thing, so I remember the guy that not who I bought coke from, another guy that I was doing it with. He said, oh, you should try crystal meth because it's the same effect, but way cheaper. And I was like, okay. So I tried doing that, and holy cow, that is the scariest drug that I've ever tried.
So in terms of the effect it has on you mentally, or just like physical?
Mentally. Like it totally.
So it wasn't the same kind of high as.
No, it was scary. Probably because I did it like every day for a while. So usually when you're doing that, you stay up for days at a time, and then you start hallucinating. Like I would see things.
The bugs.
Bugs, yeah.
That's one of my most vivid memories of your addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I went to Manning Park with my mom and Carolyn, and I was having like vivid visualizations of bugs, or like I would think that I had worms like under my skin. I could see things moving under my skin. I even went to the clinic actually and told them that I had worms, and they're like, that's not possible.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's so scary. So I have a couple stories about the bugs that I remember.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I have no idea. Like I just didn't know, because
Yeah.
I didn't really know about this world of drugs and what
Yeah.
they do to the brain or anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing I was around 19 or 20 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember one time at Mom's house, you just frantically digging through your purse,
Oh.
looking for worms or bugs in your purse. Like you were just sitting on the couch and you had emptied it all out and you were scrounging through everything, which there was a ton of stuff in your purse.
Yeah.
And you were just looking through everything, looking for these bugs, saying, you
Wow.
know that there was bugs in your purse. You dumped the whole thing out. And,
Oh my God.
and I remember I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
I was like, what's wrong? And I don't know if Mom kind of sat me down and explained anything, or I don't remember.
Yeah.
But then I think it must have been around a similar time. You were at a boyfriend's house, and I was living at Mom's in Agassiz at the time,
Oh, I remember this one.
and I got a phone call at like
Yeah.
5 a.m,
Yeah.
and you were freaking out, saying, you need me to come get you right now. I said, okay, are you okay? What's wrong?
Yeah.
You said, I just need you to please come get me. And so I went there, and in my head, I thought it was the boyfriend had done something, hit
Yeah.
you or something. So
Yeah.
I was furious and
Aw.
like ready to beat this guy up.
Yeah.
But then when I got there and you'd said, there's bugs in the bed and all over his house, and I need to get out of here.
Oh my God.
And so I took you back to Mom's, and still, I don't know if I had clued in by then if it's drugs. I think that was one of the turning points where I was like, okay, there's something
Yeah.
wrong in my sister's head.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were kind of the bug stories that I remember.
Well, I don't think that Mom knew at that time either, because
Yeah.
she had convinced me to go to see the doctor, and she wanted to go with me because I said I could feel bugs on my skin and stuff. And anyways, so she came with me, and the first thing he asked was, "Are you doing drugs?" And I said, "No,
Yeah.
of course not."
Well, with Mom in the room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I would have admitted it to him anyways.
No, yeah.
But he was like, okay, well, we're going to try and get some testing. Like maybe you have like schizophrenia or like all these different things that he was trying to think of. And looking back now, it's like, holy, like what a waste of the doctor's time and
Yeah.
like putting everybody through that, right? Like it's crazy what drugs can do to your mind. And
Yeah. And it just popped into my head thinking, like,
Yeah.
from the doctor's point of view,
yeah,
like, yeah, what can he do? Because if,
yeah,
you know, there are mental conditions
yeah,
that people have who do not use drugs,
yeah,
but it makes them think that there are bugs, or it makes them think there's stuff in their skin that makes it so uncontrollably itchy.
yeah,
And so he can't just peg you as a drug user and say, I'm pretty sure you're on drugs. So
Exactly.
this is what we'll do. He has to believe you. And
yeah,
yeah, like what a shitty situation to be in.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I just, I don't know what happened with that. I just didn't go back. I don't
Yeah.
know. So I did, after a few months of doing that specific drug, I definitely stopped that one and just went back to my expensive
Yeah.
cocaine habit.
Yeah.
So another thing that really made me love doing cocaine was the attention that I got from guys. Like I think even through like high school and like out of high school, I always felt like I just, I just wasn't, I didn't fit in. And I didn't have a lot of friends. Like I had a lot of acquaintances, and but the drugs and drinking kind of gave me the courage to like meet people.
Right.
And with the cocaine, like I got really skinny, and I just get emotional every time
Yeah, of course.
because I've always struggled with how I look, and so getting all that attention, even though it wasn't from the right people, it made me want to keep doing it because all these guys were hitting on me. I was getting taken out on dates, like so many things, right? And looking outside myself to try and fill myself with something because I wasn't happy with who I was for some reason.
Yeah.
So I think that was a lot of it. And it just kept on. I'm trying to think of when I kind of going forward after crazy stuff happening in my addiction. I remember one thing that I've always told you that I feel really bad about near the end of my addiction. I wasn't going out and partying anymore. I was kind of just at home by myself, drinking. Like as soon as I would get up, go to work in the morning. On my lunch break, I would go to the liquor store so that I could get some of my booze for the night. I'd put it in the fridge at work. And then by the time I got home, I could just start drinking until I passed out. And I was drinking mostly like a couple bottles of wine with like a thing of Fireball or Strongbow cider and Fireball. And the Fireball, I think that was, well, I don't really know because I always look at people that drink for years and years and years, like our grandpa or anybody else, and their liver didn't get as much damage as mine did. And I think maybe it was the harder stuff, like drinking so much of that and just doing it all the time. Right. I know that I'm just kind of going all over the place here. So a couple of the things in my later years, I know that I would black out pretty much every night. Like I wouldn't remember who I talked to. And I think this probably happened when you were living with me. So I would call somebody and then the next day, like my friend would be like, you called me like 2 times and said the exact same thing like in one night. So I was embarrassed by that. So I would, if I talked to somebody while I was drunk, I would write it down, like what I talked to them about, because I didn't want to like call them again because I was so drunk that I forgot who I talked to or what I talked to them about. I would write down a list of who I talked to and what I talked to them about. And then even, I think when Carolyn lived with me for a while, we would like watch a movie and I'd be drinking. I'd always be drinking wine in the living room, watching TV. And I said, oh, we should watch this movie. And she would be like, we just watched it last night. Like I would have no recollection at all.
Yeah.
Because I blacked out every night for the last like 2 years. I know when Lily Jean was in the hospital, that was one of my biggest regrets too, was seeing her in the hospital and seeing you guys going through so much. And then I just couldn't handle it. And I would either like go in the bathroom and do some coke, or I would go in the parking lot and be drinking. And it was a lot of like wasted time on my addiction.
Yeah.
Do you remember that with the note thing?
I remember, I remember you repeating a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
What I remember, because I did live with you for, I don't know how long, like 6 months?
I think it was like 6 months. Yeah. Something like that.
And like looking back now and remembering that, this was how you were the whole time I was living with you.
Yeah.
And then Carolyn living with you too. And it's like, it's insane that it like takes that long to get someone to get help or to be able to help someone like we were wanting to. Like the only way I was helping you was if I came home after you, like if I was out late at night, you'd be passed out on the couch and I would literally help you up, get to bed. Yeah. Like you'd be stumbling all over the place or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's all I could do to help her. I don't know. It's just such a weird thing that you could be in such a bad place for so long.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of the things I wanted to talk about. Like, how does someone like me or Carolyn or Mom help, without it going on for years and years and years when we kind of know it's going on?
Yeah.
Like it's just from our point of view, I'm sure everybody feels bad. They're like, well, we wish we could have got her help sooner or figured it out. I don't have a specific memory of us all talking. I know we did have some family meetings and saying, what can we do? We need to get Michelle help. But it's, I don't know, like, what do you have kind of to say to people like that are dealing with it from your family's point of view?
From the family's point of view. Yeah. That's a really hard part because honestly, there's nothing really that you can do until the addict or alcoholic really wants to get help, and knows themselves that they want to get help. Then there's nothing you can do to make them get help. There's definitely enabling is a huge thing. So like with you or with Carolyn, I mean, looking back now, it's not really anything that you could have done, but if I didn't have somebody living with me, it would have given me a little bit less money to spend on drugs or alcohol, but I still would have just used my credit card tricks and so that doesn't really change that for me in my case. It is really scary, and I know that there are programs out there for families that have loved ones in addiction, because it's such a hopeless, helpless feeling to love somebody. And from what I've had like friends that I know that were in recovery and have gone back out, and that feeling of like knowing that there's nothing really that I can do but to be there to support them when they do decide that they want to get help again. And
that's weird because I know, well, at least part of it, when I think Carolyn was with you, was kind of like, we need to take care of you. Like we need to, somebody needs to be watching over her and make sure she doesn't get hurt or something. But then at the same time, that was giving you more money, like you just said, to that kind of stuff. And it's, it's a really hard place, right? Like you want somebody, I mean, people just have to hit rock bottom. And it's just hard to be around too, right? Like, as you know, it's, rock bottom. So that's, I guess, where we're kind of getting to where we're at. Story, right? Yeah. So basically I was having some really bad stomach pains, and I had coughed up blood a few times. And I think I had mentioned it to Mom, and she said, "Oh, you got to go get that checked out. You got to get it checked out." And I wasn't thinking it had anything to do with drinking. So I went to the doctor and got up on the table, and he said, "I need to know how serious you are about this." And I was like, "About what?" And he said, "About quitting drinking." And I was like, "What?" I had no idea that was what he was going to say, right? And I'm like, "Okay." And he said, "You need to get into the hospital now. My liver and my spleen were like really enlarged, I guess." And so he said if I carried on drinking for another maybe 6 months or so, I probably would have been dead. So. And really 6 months is nothing. You had been drinking every day for years. Yeah. So my body was definitely telling me that I needed help. And I went into the hospital. I don't really remember being there. So I guess I was probably on some kind of medications or whatever, detoxing from the alcohol so that you can do it safely. Because I know if you do drink a lot, definitely don't try and just stop by yourself, because it's pretty fatal. Even the stopping. Even just the stopping, yeah. If you're at that point in your alcoholism where you're drinking a lot every single day, if you just stop, you can go into have seizures and so you have to do it safely, right? Yeah. So I was in the hospital. Somehow my doctor set it up so that I was off of work on disability, so that I could recover in the hospital and then get some help. Which I went to some detox classes at the hospital. It's daytime courses on stress management, relapse prevention, all that kind of stuff. But when I couldn't drink anymore, I still started, I just upped my cocaine use. And so I crazy. Thought I thought I remembered that part of the story. I thought, well, if my liver's messed up, I could still do cocaine because that won't fuck up my liver. As crazy as that is. So I was still doing coke, and then I was telling, my mom was like, "Oh, you're losing a lot of weight." And I said, "Yeah, it's from not drinking." And so I think in the back of her mind, she knew. She said that she knew, but she didn't know how to talk to me about it because she didn't want to upset me. So I was still doing cocaine. I was going to a 12-step program. And Lily Jean was still getting really sick. And, I remember, I don't even know when it happened, but my caseworker through Great West Life, that's the benefits company that I had. I would phone her every day, I guess. And, I don't remember this either, but I phoned her every day. I was crying, saying that I needed help.
I wanted to quit doing the drugs, but I couldn't, and crying about Lily Jean and our whole family situation. And she said I called her every single day for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And I don't remember that, but that was the push to where she signed me up to go see an addiction specialist out in Burnaby. And I remember I told them, well, I can't get there anyways. And they paid for me to take a cab from Chilliwack to Burnaby to go see
like,
this
insurance company, like health insurance
like
company?
my benefits
yes.
through work.
Okay. Yeah.
So
wow. That's
like
pretty
long-term benefits. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they paid for me to take this cab. I was in such rough shape, and I'm going to give you the picture because it has my before picture on so that you can post it because it's horrible and gross, but it shows how far you can come. And so I saw him, I went through a whole list of questions, and then I went back home, and then him and the disability company decided that because I seemed so willing, because I was phoning them every day and stuff, that I wanted to get help, that they were going to pay for me to go to treatment over in Nanaimo. And honestly, it's one of the top treatment centers in all of North America, called Edgewood over in Nanaimo. And so they called me up and they said, this is the date that you're going. This is how long, they didn't even say how long. It's usually like a 2-month program. And so I found out what date it was, and I had been watching Intervention. I love watching Intervention because then I was like, oh, I'm not that bad. Let's sit and drink or whatever. Yeah. And so I had seen some of the different treatment centers that people go to. And the one in the States, it's like they're all on the beach and like so nice and relaxing. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And I can just take some time for myself. And I remember even calling the treatment center to see if I should bring my bathing suit because I thought they might have a pool. They just laughed. They definitely did not have a pool. Yeah. So February 18th is the day that February 18th, 2013 is the date that I went into treatment. And I think it was like my push to looking back. There's lots of stuff about looking back and like being in the addiction and not realizing, but I know that like Lily Jean was really sick, and I knew the hurt that I was causing my family, and I didn't want my family to have to go to 2 funerals that close together. And so somehow inside me, I knew that I needed help, and I reached out and I got it. And I was at Edgewood for 2 months, 60 days. And the program there it was really, really tough. It's a lot of group sessions, which I was really scared of doing. Like I thought I would be doing one-on-one counseling, but everything was in a group. And I think if they put that on their website, I probably would have said I'm not going.
Do you think, is there a reason for them to do it as a group instead of one-on-one, or is it just the lack, like there's only one counselor, so they need to do it as a group? Or is it about
definitely about being with other
talking
people,
with your peers?
Yeah, other people that have been through the same experience. And now I'm involved in a 12-step program, and that's the best thing. Like when I got out of treatment, they said get right into like a program and meet new people, because you can't hang out with the same people that you were hanging out with before, or I couldn't anyways. Right. The ones that I was hanging out with weren't actually true friends. And so I met lots of people in recovery, and I think that that's what they prepare you for when you're in the treatment center, is just making friends with other people going through the same struggles and knowing that you're not alone. Which is huge. It was scary for me because I didn't like opening up in front of people, but now I'm on a podcast telling my whole story.
Which is, you're doing a very good job of it. I'll tell you that. And I wanted, before I forget, talk about if you've ever thought about getting into any like, motivational speaking roles or something like to do with the treatment of addicts and stuff. Is that ever something you would think about pursuing?
I think it's kind of like in everybody's, well, not everybody, but like 90% of people in recovery that I've met are always like, oh, I should get into like helping, like being a social worker or whatever, like going into the field of working with addicts. And for me, I don't know if I could do it as a full-time job. Like it would be so heartbreaking
Right.
for me,
I guess,
because
yeah.
the amount of people, honestly, the statistics are not good for people that make it in this, because it's so deadly. Like, especially nowadays, there's the fentanyl and everything. Like,
do you know any specific statistics? Like what chance you would have given yourself?
I think when we were in treatment, they said 1 in 5 or 1 in 3 of you will make it, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's pretty good statistics.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, 1 in 3 or 1 in 5 of you will die. That was it.
Yeah.
It was the opposite of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because they said, look to your left and look to your right, and one of you won't be here, like in a few years or something.
Crazy.
Yeah, I definitely need to look it up, but yeah, it was a lot of work, but definitely what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped me to grow as a person and to work on my own things that I struggled with in myself, and being able to not look for outside things to fill me up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of just learning to love yourself, right?
Yeah.
Before anyone else can.
Yeah.
Can
And
love
definitely lots of stuff like anger management, stress management, like realizing that things in life are going to be shitty sometimes and things are going to go wrong, but knowing how to reach out and ask for help instead of just trying to do everything yourself.
Right.
And making yourself stressed and reaching for something else to try and fix the problem, which in the end, drinking and using, it always made the problem worse. I could forget about it for a while.
Yeah.
But it never made it better. So
that was February
18th,
2013. So it's 6 years.
Yeah.
6.5.
6 years, 6.5, clean and sober. So,
yeah. And that's pretty incredible.
Thanks.
That it was kind of, I mean, because a lot of people relapse, go back to recovery. Yeah. Like in and out. I mean, I know it's one of the main things with this 12-step program is you're always an addict or an alcoholic, and it's a constant for the rest of your life.
That's right.
Battle, right?
Yeah. So I would say a lot of people say it's a constant battle or a constant struggle, but for me, honestly, like the first year was tough. Yeah. But after that, like it's not even really a struggle. Like if I see people drinking or if I'm around people drinking, I don't even care. Like I don't even want to drink, which is huge because the obsession.
Must be a big step. In the program, or if that's like the bonus. Yeah. That's the 13th.
Yeah. Well, not 13th step. That's a different story. Oh. That's like people hooking up with other people in the program.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
It's an unspoken step.
So you've also taken that step. Have you not?
Yes, I have, because I'm married to one now. So
that's right. But so you do seem to have an awesome handle on it, where like you said, you know, I drink around you sometimes. Yeah. At family stuff. It's
sometimes I'll bring an energy drink for my
that's right.
My specialty.
Can you talk about your energy drinks?
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
After you got out of
oh my gosh, on the way home from treatment. So it was on the island, of course. So I took the ferry, and I had, I think, 3 Monsters on the ferry on the way back home, because I was like, oh man, this is so good, and I just like wanted another one and another one. My energy drink addiction took off very quickly from when I got home from treatment.
Like this is 100% real. Like legit.
Totally 100% real. Addicted, yeah. Like my empties that were in my storage room of beer and wine were now bags of empties of energy drinks. Yeah. Like I would look at it and be like, holy crap, I'm spending a lot of money. I wouldn't think like this is bad for me, but I thought that's a lot of money I'm spending. So it was like I would have like a couple a day, and then it went up to like, instead of 2 a day, it would go to 4 a day, and then maybe like 6 or 7 a day. At the most, I was drinking like 10 to 12 energy drinks in a day. Yeah. Like I would just drink them constant like that, instead of like, and now I always have a bottle of water.
That's like $50.
Yeah.
too, a
Yeah.
day on energy drinks.
Yeah. So that was like the max that I did.
Yeah.
So that was probably just for a few days, right?
Yeah.
But definitely the average was probably about 8 a day that I could drink.
For weeks. Months.
Well, it lasted for a few months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple people would say things like at the 12-step program that I went to, or I was also at the detox classes again. And
Yeah.
I would always have an energy drink with me. And, I'd get them on sale, 3 for whatever, or 2 for whatever. So stock up, but then I would never have any left. It was the same as alcohol, right? I would go out and buy it and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to stock up for the week.
Yeah.
And then I would drink
then you would
it
drink 'em all
in like
a day or two.
Yeah. So
Fuck.
I quickly had to stop that because it definitely, and that's another thing. If you're super addicted to caffeine, you can't just stop that either because it's like really unhealthy. You have to wean yourself off, which is one of the addictions counselors or whatever told me about that. So now, so it lasted a few months of really crazy highs and lows and feeling kind of sick, but drinking another one because I thought it would make me better. So that lasted a few months. Now I drink, we were talking before, I drink maybe like 6 in a year. So it's like my celebration
Christmas,
kind of
New
Christmas.
Year's, you were saying,
Canada
Something.
Day, I got myself a energy drink.
And I think that's great. You
So-
know, like, it can be something, it's like a reward almost or whatever. It's just something
Everybody
special,
else is
right?
drinking like beer and stuff, and I'll have like one energy drink. So
Yeah, exactly. It's that's
so I had to
that's
work on that
crazy,
too.
though. Yeah, you did.
The one thing that I haven't got addicted to that I want to is exercise.
That's what you said. A lot of and I like now when I go to the gym, I look around and I'm like, I bet a lot of these guys were addicts. Like you see these huge muscle guys with tattoos everywhere. Like they look like they would be drug dealers,
right?
But it's probably half of them are drug dealers and half of them are recovering.
That's right.
Addicts.
Yeah, because you can switch quickly. Like, I know for me, probably a lot is still food. Because, especially now that I quit smoking, like I quit smoking cigarettes a year and a half ago.
I don't know how you could do this. Like,
that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Because my husband
incredible.
still smokes too.
Yeah. Good for you.
I still love the smell of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why people think it's so gross, but oh man, anytime I smell it, I'm like, oh yeah.
I guess it's like campfires. They don't really smell good, but you still like the smell of it.
Yeah. So, that one I did through some medication with my doctor. I did Champix, but just half the dosage because he didn't want me to have the crazy side effects that other people were having. Yeah. And that worked really good. And but now I definitely, in a year and a half, I've probably put on like 50 pounds. Yeah. I think.
So, and you signed up for the gym. You were going a
little
bit there. We just got to try and get you in a routine, I guess. And
now I got to get back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is tough. I've kind of fallen off the last little while too. It's especially once you add kids into it and jobs.
Yeah. Well, that's why I signed up at the Y because they do have a really good kids program.
Daycare thing, yeah.
So I can go, and then Brooklyn can go and have fun in the gym and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be good. We'll get you addicted to that for sure.
Yeah.
But is that okay to be addicted to? Or they're still like, be careful.
Yeah. You got to do everything in moderation.
Yeah. You don't want to be hurting yourself in the gym, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying
or like
too hard.
Not spend time with your family because you're just at the gym every day, all day.
Okay. Yeah. There's that side of things too. Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty complex issue. One thing you had kind of said a couple times during this story was about how, people don't see alcohol as a big problem or it's kind of just more normal.
Yeah.
Do you have strong opinions, like anything you think, like, should booze be regulated more, better by the government, or I don't know. I'm not quite sure what. Do you know what I'm asking?
It's a good question.
Like,
for
does
sure.
this come up a lot among addicts? How booze should be illegal, or this
to make it illegal, like drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
I think honestly, if alcoholics or drug addicts want something, they're gonna get it. No matter where they get it from or how they get it. I think if you like regulated it or made it illegal, there would be just more crime.
More crime. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I guess that's the.
It's tough because it is
but...
when you're new in recovery, alcohol is everywhere. So it's, for me, my family, actually, you guys were really good when I first got like clean or sober. You guys wouldn't have any alcohol at dinners and stuff. And that was awesome until I said, like, it's fine. You guys can go ahead. And that was huge. And if I went somewhere where I knew that there was going to be alcohol, usually I brought a friend from recovery with me, or I had like a way out. Like I would say I would just stop by for an hour and then I got to go somewhere.
Yeah. Like to my shows at the pubs or whatever when I was playing music, and you would still come. But
yeah. Then I wouldn't embarrass you anymore.
Yeah. There were some rough ones.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I was like a groupie. One of my friends in recovery, actually, she was a groupie too. And we look back now and we're like, holy cow. Like,
I think one of them told me a story about showing her breasts
oh my God.
at one of my shows. And she was like, but I'm sober now. I'm like, oh, good for you.
Oh, that's funny.
And the one I remember that was bad was when we went to the Canucks game.
Oh my God.
That we got given like a family suite. And didn't you actually get taken out in a wheelchair?
Yeah. That's actually one of my biggest regrets actually is, so we got these tickets from this businessman in Vancouver, donated them to Andrew and Chelsea at Children's Hospital because Lily Jean was in there. And so instead of taking their friends, they chose to take our families, like both our families. And I was so excited. I was so happy that we got to go. Like I could be at the Canucks game and in this like fancy suite. Yeah. And I honestly, like I never knew that it was going to end up so bad. And I know I ordered like a couple bottles of wine, and which for me, like it sounds like a lot, but for me it wasn't really that much. Like
that was
drink.
You trying to keep it under control. You were like, okay, I'm going to be good
that
tonight.
Was
just 2 bottles of wine.
Like I wasn't getting tequila or anything. Anyways, and then I don't even remember who they were playing. I don't know what the score was. Yeah. I remember there was a guy in the suite next to us that was passing me drinks. And the next thing I knew, the next morning, I was so embarrassed because I couldn't remember what had happened. And Lisa or Carolyn told me, and it was Lily Jean's first birthday the next day at the hospital. Okay. And I was like, everybody was there and I felt like such a piece of shit. And, but I guess from what I've heard, they were scared that I was going to like fall over the side, like looking over the big patio thing. And that at the end, I was yelling at Mom because she was telling me to pay for it, and I couldn't even write my signature for my credit card bill. And so I said I wasn't going to pay, and I was yelling at Mom, and then I was trying to go down the hallway, but I fell right in front of the elevator and I couldn't get back up. And the security had to come with a wheelchair and wheel me down to the car and put me in the car. And then Jeff, I think, had to help me up to my apartment when I got home. And
yeah, that was right around that rock bottom, right? For sure.
That was a really bad night.
And I bring these things up, but I can wholeheartedly say I hold none of this stuff against you. Like I have no ill feelings. Like I said, I have nothing but love for you. I look up to you now, and because and that's what I hope everybody realizes is it's an addiction. It's a mental condition that you had that you weren't able to control, and now you can control it with the help of this 12-step program and the recovery in Edgewood that you went to. So I definitely have no ill feelings towards any of that.
I'm glad.
I know, and I'm glad you can kind of laugh at it sometimes, and that we can talk about it, because it's I enjoy talking about it. That's why I love doing this podcast, and I hope you kind of enjoy telling the story. And
of course,
I think it helps us connect, and I think it would help you connect with people who are listening. And I don't know if there's any addicts who listen to the podcast, but
but I think people that know people, right?
Yeah,
and then even just like for me, sharing my story is just kind of giving that glimpse of hope to somebody, and that's why I
do
still
feel like they're
like I still am involved in the same, like the 12-step program that I went into as soon as I got out of treatment. I'm still involved in that, and just being there for people that are new coming in. If like anybody knows anybody, like there's they can always like send me a personal message on Facebook. Like I'm totally open to that.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, I guess not through me because then I would know. But or if you want to do it through me, go ahead. Otherwise,
if
you're
you
easy
need my
to find
contact info
on my Facebook. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think like kind of saying, you were saying something about like how somebody becomes an addict.
Yeah.
Alcoholic.
Or like what would you tell people to ask themselves and to see if they answer, yes, I'm an alcoholic, I guess. You're like, where does that kind of come in? Or do you have questions for people?
Yeah.
Let's say, ask yourself this kind of thing.
There is a questionnaire, and I can't remember. I'll have to see if I can find the link to it, because there's a questionnaire that you go through, and I think there's like 12 questions, and I checked off every single box. So, but I think a lot of people will check off the boxes and not actually be an alcoholic.
Yeah, because I mean, I know, like, I guess I don't know for sure, but I know a lot of people who would drink every day.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call them alcoholics or addicts.
Yeah.
Like sometimes maybe it's only 1 or 2 a day or
if they just have a glass of wine after work, or if you just have like a beer on a patio.
It's just so hard because, again, it's a fine line, right?
Yeah.
Because then what if they are getting shit-faced on the weekends? Yeah. And then, every weekend they're out both nights getting blackout drunk, and then they're drinking through the week as well. Like, then that's probably borderlining on addiction, right? Or it's a really good question because it's hard to know, and the main thing is that I couldn't really tell somebody else that they were an alcoholic or an addict, but that person would know inside for sure if they actually have a problem with it. So you could see somebody and they could have like 1 drink each night and then a few more on the weekends, and they could say like, I don't have a problem, I can only have 1 during the week and it's fine. But deep down inside, I think they would know. And so mostly from what I've learned, for an alcoholic or an addict, if you start drinking, like this is what happened for me. If I start drinking, it's actually like a chemical in the brain that's different than non-addicts. And so the way that the alcohol gets, there's all these scientific terms for it too, and I can't remember, but the way that the alcohol goes through your system is different than somebody that's not an alcoholic. And so if you have 1 drink, the receptors in your brain or whatever are different than a non-alcoholic. So, and it's like a obsession of your mind where you just want another one. Yeah. Like 1's not enough, and you want another one, and you want another one. So you could probably like just white knuckle it and say, okay, I'm just going to have 1 drink. And you could make it for like 2 weeks, just having 1 drink. But if your mind is constantly like thinking, I can't wait for this 2 weeks to be up so I can have that drink. And like, if you're obsessing over it, that's like the obsession of the mind of an addict. Because you can control it as an addict.
Yeah.
Like you could still be an addict, but you can control it and just have that 1 drink. Yeah. Just like you can control it by not having any drinks, but you're still an addict. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's more, it's more just
the feelings
once
that
you
come
start,
along with it.
Once I start, I can't stop. And that's why, like, I think everybody kind of is actually born like with that special thing in their brain, or that makes up their brain, where they're born with that. And because everybody says, oh, it's a choice because you go out and you choose to drink or you choose to use or whatever. So in the beginning, I agree that it's a choice. And once you choose that and you don't stop, that's, I think, where the addiction starts right then, because your mind is different. It's a different makeup in your brain than a regular normal person. Yeah. And so the way that your body takes in the alcohol and I don't know what it does, but yeah, I'm getting mixed up now.
Yeah, no, it's well, like you said, it's a lot of complex stuff that you don't know the exact terms. But
but there is scientific research saying like that there is something in your brain that works differently than people that don't have a problem with alcohol, right? Like if I was out for dinner or something, like some people just leave like a little bit of wine in their glass and they
Yeah.
don't finish it, like
Yeah.
they're not an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
If you were an alcoholic, you'd be like, okay, I gotta finish this, and
Yeah.
or you would like, even if you didn't like the taste of something, you would just drink it anyway because you want to get that effect.
Yeah.
Like you're searching for that effect of the alcohol or the drug, and then you just do more and more and more because you want that effect.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a scary
Does it
thing.
kind of what you've been through?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make you worry more about people close to you, like me? Like,
Oh yeah,
do
well,
you
not-
think it enhances that, and you're
for sure. It makes you more aware
more
of
aware?
like
Yeah, of course.
other people. And I think a lot of it too is if it affects your
family life or
your family
your work.
life and your own kind of in your mind. Like if you're really hating your life and you hate yourself,
Yeah.
then that's a big clue that you might have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it's affecting time with your family, if they're telling you like, hey, like I'd rather you just come home instead of going to the pub for a couple beers,
Yeah.
but you still want to go to the pub, then that
Yeah.
might be a problem. Yeah.
I know for me, it's definitely like kept me in check, or made me even worry about myself more. Kind of seeing and thinking, well,
Right.
if Dad's an addict, if
Yeah.
Michelle's an addict, there's very good chance that it's in me as well.
Yeah.
And I see a bit of addictive personality in everything, even in going to the gym.
Yeah.
Like when I'm going to the gym regularly, great. If I miss a day,
Yeah.
it like affects me
Yeah.
pretty hard. Like I get upset, and I'm
Oh,
and
Yeah.
but same. And so then it makes me really keep myself in check. And I can't say for sure, like if you weren't an alcoholic, maybe I probably would have
Yeah.
gone even further down that road. But
Yeah.
now I kind of think, okay, there's something in me that there's a good chance I would become addicted to this if I let myself go too much or whatever. You know what I
so
mean?
it helps you to be more aware. That's awesome.
Yeah, but
That's
then
a good
also,
thing.
but then also, it just worries me, and I'm like, well, I can't.
Yeah.
Am I doing too much already by because I still get drunk sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
a secret. I smoke pot. Everybody knows that in
Yeah.
the family now. I've told everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it's just I don't know. I think it does more so just help me keep myself in check, and I'm like, you
Yeah.
got a family, got a good job. Focus on that, and but I don't know. But
That's
then
good.
again, like I said, sometimes I go out on the weekend and I get drunk, or on my nights off or whatever, and
Yeah.
I still enjoy that aspect of my life with my friends and whatever. So
I think that's normal though. Like, it's,
like you said, I think it can be normal,
yeah.
but it's probably not normal for everybody. And
Yeah.
um,
You just have to know when to like,
yeah,
when
When
to
it's-
watch for it,
when
right?
it's family time, when it's work time, and when it's
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
And even
it's
with
a weird
like
thing.
with watching like Brooklyn grow up too, I'm always like, I'm like worried about her, right? Like you never know
Yeah.
who it can affect, and especially seeing like or hearing like what mom had to go through with me, and
Yeah.
and thinking like, oh my gosh, like if my daughter. But that's what's cool about Brooklyn. So like I'm open with her about that I don't drink alcohol. I haven't said anything about the drugs because she's not old enough really for that
Yeah,
part.
right.
But she knows that me and her dad both don't drink alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
and that she like sometimes comes with me for like this 12 step program that I'm involved in, and she
Yep.
loves it. There's other kids there, and I think that it's a blessing too, because then if she does end up having a problem, she'll know that there is a solution, and that she can get help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One other kind of quick thought I had on the topic of marijuana and how they've kind of started
Yeah.
legalizing that a bit more or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of the kind of stoner culture, they say, well, it's not addictive, that's fine.
Right.
But is it kind of a thing that if that's inside you, anything can be addictive? Like you said, energy
oh, for
drinks
sure.
or going to the gym.
Yeah.
So obviously it's the same thing with marijuana. Like if
Oh yeah.
you have that
can
addictive
have,
behavior, you will be addicted to it.
of course. Yeah.
know?
I think I'm for sure pot is addicting. Like,
Yeah.
because I've had relationships or like had friends of people that definitely have a pot addiction.
Yeah.
Like I can see it because that's all they do, like all day, all night.
Yeah.
They just want to smoke.
Yeah.
And it definitely it affects your brain, like I believe, like over time, if you're doing it every day, all day, I mean, things in moderation are one thing, but if you're doing it all day, every day, I've seen it with friends where they just become lazy. They don't want to go do anything. They just kind of like sit around and play video games, or they don't have a job. They don't have a license.
Right. Yeah.
It can definitely be a not good thing for somebody that is an addict, for sure. Yeah. It's more, I guess, more calming than the other kind of drugs.
Yeah,
but it's
like
still,
you said, it's moderation. It's how you use it. It's when you use it, that kind of thing. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's there's a bunch of cans of worms to open for sure. But I'm really glad you were able to talk about this and talk about people getting help, and that if they need to reach out to you, feel free.
Yeah.
I had a musician reach out to me who wants to be on the podcast because he's just got clean and sober.
Nice.
So I'm hoping to have him on soon as well.
That's awesome.
And do another one. But
there's a lot of people, like, if I know, like, before I got clean or whatever, I didn't know how big of a recovery based community there is in Chilliwack. Like, it's huge, and there's so much support, and so many people are just willing to help because they've been there themselves, right? They've been that hopeless feeling that I used to have, and I don't have that anymore. And like, it's crazy. Like, I'll just be walking down the street and I'll recognize somebody because I know them through recovery, right? And all of my friends, pretty much every single one of my friends is in recovery. Yeah. So it's definitely a huge blessing. I like, my life today is better than I could have even dreamed. I actually met my husband. We just got married last summer, and we met through the 12-step program
on the 13th step.
So I had, I think, 3 years, and he had maybe 3 months clean, which is actually a big no-no in the recovery world. Yeah.
Because he could become dependent on you, kind of thing.
I was
right?
kind of
Is
like
that part of it.
Well, I guess so. Yeah. He just, like, maybe wouldn't be. But I think, honestly, like, some people that have a year recovery can be less stable than somebody with 3 months recovery. I think it's more the quality than the quantity. But it still is probably was frowned upon a bit. But I did it, and we're married now. So
yeah. It's great. Yeah. And you've got Brooklyn.
She's like the biggest blessing in my life.
Exactly.
I honestly, like, I would sit in my addiction. I would sit on my couch and cry and say, like, I'm never going to have a husband. I'm never going to have any kids. Like, I just want to have a family. And now I have it. And Brooklyn's like 8 years old, and she came into my life when she was 5, and she's like one of the best things that ever happened to me.
It's awesome. I see you guys are such good parents. Yeah. You guys do so much with her, and she gets to experience so much now that you're both healthy and sober and
right. Like, not a chaotic environment.
Yeah. And it's good for her. It's what she needs, which is, I mean, and really in life, like, that's got to be one of the answers to, why are we here? What do we do? It's for people like us to take care of kids, to make sure they have the best chance at growing up to live fulfilling lives and be healthy. And so it is happy. Like, when, it just makes sense, it seems, when you have kids. Yeah. You don't have to wonder, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Yeah. You have an answer right in front of you.
It's a purpose. Yeah.
It's
I think that's a huge...
Again, people who are clouded and who are going through these kind of things, they probably wouldn't even see that. Yeah. They can't understand that it's, you're here for this kid. You got to, that's your job.
Yeah, exactly.
The motorbike outside getting...
Oh,
the guy works on them all the time. We're in a new space here on the AC show because Jamie, my musical partner, Jamie and Nadia, took the desk that was down in my studio to the island with them when they moved. So we're just up in the dining room.
Kitchen.
Yeah, but it's good. It's
dining
comfy.
Room. Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. Yeah. I know you came prepared for the one question that I said I was going to ask all my guests. And
right.
I've probably only asked 5 people, I think.
Yes.
So, what is your favorite song of all time?
Favorite song of all time. I did think about this when I first heard my first Andrew Christopher Show podcast. Yeah. What would be my favorite all-time song? And mine is Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it really?
I love Bryan Adams. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
He's
would
like my
never have
all-time
guessed
favorite.
that.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
Because even like it's super old, right? So
Yeah.
it was when I was like a teenager or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's one of those songs where it comes on right away. I'm always like, oh
Into
man,
it.
I love this song. Like singing along.
Because growing up, you were more into like Korn and
Oh, yeah.
Insane Clown Posse,
Yeah. Metallica.
Metallica.
There's a couple Metallica songs too, but
Yeah.
but I think those songs like that kind of music I just listened to because that's the guys that I was hanging out with were listening to it.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Because it was bad music.
Yeah, I was cool and
But
hardcore.
yeah, okay. I guess Summer '69.
Yeah.
If I asked enough people, then I should have known that was definitely
Yeah,
gonna be said.
that was a good one.
I'll play that for you next time at my show. Next time you come out.
Awesome.
I don't really like doing it.
I didn't know you
but-
sang that one.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can, but I just don't really like doing it, so I
Cool.
don't often do it. But I will for you.
Thanks.
Anyway, so thank you very much for being on here. This was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, anybody out there, get a hold of Michelle through my Facebook if you need to chat.
Definitely. That's one of my my purposes in life too, is to help
Yeah.
other people, addicts and alcoholics, to know that there is a life out there. So
Yeah, it's very commendable.
yeah.
You're a beautiful person, and I do look up to you now.
Thank you.
Happy to call you my big sister. Okay, guys, we'll talk to you next time. Peace out.
Bye.
It's the Andrew Christopher Show. With Andrew Christopher, your host. It's the Andrew Christopher Show. But really we call it the AC Show. Yeah, we really call it the AC Show. Really call it the AC Show. It's the AC Show.
It's the AC show with AC, your host. Check it out.